Namaskar, everybody. Welcome. Let us begin our Gita study with a prayer. It's our tradition to begin all activities with a prayer. Whatever it is, before we go to bed, we pray. When we wake up, we pray. When we begin the day, when you go to work, we pray. When we come back home from work, we pray. When we eat, we pray. So prayer is very important part of life. This prayer is on page 196 of Universal Prayers. This book, Universal Prayers, is a collection of prayers from various sources, Vedas, Puranas, and other sources. Page 196, the second one on that page. This is from Mukundamala Stotram, a famous hymn composed by Kulashekara Alvar. Kulashekara Alvar was one of the 12 Alvars, Vaishnava saints of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu had a great many number of saints. Some of them were Vaishnava saints like Alvars, 12 of them, and some were Shaiva saints like Nayanmars, 63 Nayanmars. So this is from Kulashekara Alvar's Mukundamala Stotram. Om Nasta Dharme Navaso Nichaye Naiva Kamopabhoge Yadbhavyam Tadbhavat Bhagavan Purvakarmanusaram Purvakarmanurupam Etat Prarthyam Mama Bahumatam Janma Janmantarepi Tatpadam Bhorhayagata Nischala Bhaktirastu. O Lord, I do not seek so-called meritorious acts, punya karma leading to heavenly enjoyment. I do not seek wealth, nor the enjoyment of objects of desires. Let that which is inevitable fall to my lot according to my previous karma. Good or bad, whatever happens, let it happen depending on my previous karma, prarabdha karma. But this much is my cherished desire, that I should be endowed with love, unshaken love, devotion for the lotus feet in this life, as well as in lives to come. Prayer for only pure devotion, not for worldly enjoyments here, not for heavenly enjoyments later. Only devotion is worthwhile seeking from God. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace. Peace be within us all. Peace and harmony be amongst all. And peace be everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. So we begin chapter 14. This is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, their qualities, how they affect our lives. Just before that, a very quick review of chapter 13. Chapter 13 is one of the very important chapters. So there, the first 6 shlokas, chapter 1 to 6, on chapter 13, Bhagavan Sri Krishna described the kshetra and kshetrajna very briefly. Kshetra means the physical body, mind, their composition, constituents, and their qualities, the changes they undergo. Kshetra. Kshetrajna came very briefly in the second verse, 13th chapter. Very important line. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata. That one line alone captures the main point of Advaita Vedanta. Sarvakshetreshu, in all the bodies, without exception, any kind of body, human, non-human, moving, unmoving, in all the bodies, Sarvakshetreshu, Mam Kshetrajnam Vidhi, know me to be the indwelling spirit. One God present in all. If you remember that's one line and put into practice, that is enough. Seeing God everywhere in everything. So 1 to 6, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. 7 to 11, verses 7 to 11, we spent a lot of time on discussing the 20 signs of self-knowledge. These are also virtues to be practiced to gain self-knowledge. These 5 verses, 7 to 11, they contain a list of 20 virtues, signs of self-knowledge. Amanitvam, Adambhitvam, Ahimsa, Shantirarjavam, those verses 7 to 11. Then from verses 12 to 18, the description of the supreme reality of Brahman came. Omnipresence of Brahman, all that came. 12 to 16 is present in all. In the same way, Virat Purusha, description of the whole universe as God. God himself appears as the whole universe. All hands are his hands, all feet are his feet, all eyes are his eyes, all ears are his ears, and so on. So we have to remember that with whomever we are dealing, with whatever we are dealing with the Lord himself. Only he is there in all these beings. That is 12 to 18. 19 to 23 was the Sankhya view, Prakriti Purusha. Here Prakriti means the body mind, material part of our personality, and Purusha means the conscious partness. One big difference here in Sankhya is Purusha, each individual is a Purusha. So many Purushas, as many Purushas as there are beings. Each individual has a conscious part in it. That is Purusha. But in Vedanta, Purusha means a cosmic Purusha, Brahman, Parama Purusha. That will come in the next chapter, the 15th chapter. So that is the two parts of our personality, Purusha, Prakriti, Purusha. That is 13 to 19 to 23. 4 slokas, 5 slokas. And then 24, 25, 4 different ways, paths to know God. 24, 25. Some people know this by meditation. Dhyanena atmani kechid atmana pashyanti. By dhyana, meditation. But that is difficult for many people. Meditation on the self. Then other people, 24, 25. No, we are in the wrong chapter. 24, 25 in chapter 13, 4 different ways to know God. Dhyanena atmani pashyanti kechidatmanam. Dhyanena, by meditation, some people know the truth, God. Anye, other people for whom meditation is difficult, Sankhena Yogena. Sankhya Yoga here means the path of Vichara. Sankhya Yoga here means These are the constituents, sattva, rajas, and tamas, that will come in the 14th chapter. This is, and the self is separate. Purusha is separate. Prakriti. Prakriti means a physical part that keeps changing, comes and goes. Body comes and goes. Vichara like this, reasoning like this. Sankhya Yoga. Examining our own personality, if you observe objectively, everything changes. You can't find one thing that does not change in our lives. Not only whole nature changes, every moment is changing. We don't notice it sometimes. Some things like Himalaya mountain, it remains constant, but it's also changing. Everything. Earth is also moving, changing. And our bodies are changing. That we know from our own experience. Sometimes we don't want the body to change when we are in the later stages of our life. When we are in the younger parts of life, then we want to change. The child wants to become a grown-up person, pretends like a grown-up person. He wants to change to happen. Can't wait. So everything changes. The only thing that does not change is the self within Atman. That's our true nature. We are that, not the body mind. Doing vichara like this is called Sankhya. By meditation or by vichara like this. Then by doing vichara like this, we develop detachment. Why should I be attached to these changing things? They are not going to be there after some time. Today it is there, tomorrow, next day it may not be there. Why should I become attached to it? Because if I become attached to these changing things, when they go, I feel a lot of pain. I become dependent on them. I look upon them as sources of happiness, body, material objects, wealth, everything. But they are not going to be with me, or they may be with me and I have to leave. One way or other, separation comes. So when separation comes, I will become very unhappy. So that attachment is not good. In order for us to develop detachment to body, mind, all changing things, they come and go. We should know their temporary nature of the association. All associations are temporary. Our association with our relatives and family, children, grandchildren, co-workers, friends, money, our house, our job, our body, all temporary. So we should not become attached to them. If they are there, we are happy, thankful that all these things are there. Thankful body is there. Use it well, put it to good use, take care of it. When it leaves, thank you. You have done your part very much. We go our ways. We go our separate ways. That is detachment. That's why this Sankhya Vichara is important. Anye Sankhena Yogena. Third category of people who are active by nature. Karma Yogena Cha Pare. By doing karma as worship. Karma you all have to do. Nobody can escape karma. That we know from the Gita earlier chapter. Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, no one can remain without doing any karma even for 1 second. They are always active. If nothing, the body functions are going on. Breathing, everything is going on. All karma stops only when the body ceases to function. So, using all that karma that we do to our advantage as spiritual practice. Every karma we do can be done as a spiritual practice, as puja, as worship, as offering. Then that is our main path. We are worshipping all the time because all the time we are doing something. The work does not change. Unpleasant or pleasant, we have to do that one. Let us do it joyfully, nicely, with love, prem sake, and enjoy and offer the result to God. I've done my part. Rest is up to you. I'm free. That is another path. Anybody can follow karma yoga. There is no qualification required because everybody is doing some work all the time anyhow. Why not do it as worship? Only in the mind we think of it as worship. That is third part. Dhyanena, Sankhena Yogena, Karma Yogena. Now, some people have a different taste or ability. they cannot do any of this or don't want to do any of this, no interest, no ability, then they can listen to other people who have done this path, followed this path, and reached the goal and follow their advice. Shruti Parayana, this verse number 25. Anye tveva majanantah sritva anyebhya upasate. Anyebhya, from other people who know more, who have traveled this path. Shrutva, hearing their advice. There are teachers who tell us this is the path to follow to reach God. I have followed this path, I have reached the result, I have obtained the result. You can also get the same result if you follow these things. Do these things 1, 2, 3. They tell us what to do. That is enough for some people. We just follow their advice. That's why holy company is necessary. They tell us what to do because they have followed the path. They have made progress or they have reached the goal. So we can listen to them and benefit from their experience. Easier way. Tepi chahati tarantyeva mrityum suti parayan. They also who listen to other people, enlightened people, teachers, gurus. We listen to Sri Ramakrishna's words. Some people listen to Sri Krishna's words in the Gita. Some people listen to other scriptures, other saints, and then they get the result. Easier path. Fourth way. In these 4 ways, they can reach the goal of life. That is 24, 25. Then 26 to 28, 3 slokas, Sri Krishna describes the same theme comes again and again. Lot of repetition in the Gita. We need the repetition. Here it says, whatever being is there in this universe, it is a combination of 2 parts. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Samyoga. Physical part, material part, conscious, spiritual. We are all combination. That spiritual part is our true nature. Physical part comes and goes. That same theme comes in 26 to 28. And last uh, 6 verses, 28 to 34, 29 to 34, Bhagavan Sri Krishna describes the identity of Kshetrajna and Paramatma. Whatever consciousness, spirit is there in our lives, in our bodies, each one of us, it is same as supreme consciousness. Advaita Vedanta. Vedanta Upanishad says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, I am not the body mind. That goes against our experience because we are every moment you are only thinking of the body mind. I am the body, I am the mind. That is not the ultimate truth. It's our experience, temporary experience, but that body mind will go away. Something will remain. I am that permanent, eternal consciousness. That's the Vedanta. So in this way, 13th chapter has so many important points. At least some of them we should study frequently and put into practice. Now we go to chapter number 14. 14th chapter is called, this is really Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. In the 2nd chapter, this topic has already come. The topic of 14th chapter has already come in the 2nd chapter. Sri Krishna has mentioned the 3 gunas. 2nd chapter, sloka number 45. There, Bhagavan had said, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nityasatvastho Niryogakshema Atmavan. O Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. All the topics described in the Veda, that means everything, is dealing with the 3 gunas, qualified by 3 gunas, has 3 gunas. Anything that we can think of, our personality has 3 gunas. Some people are sattvic, some are rajasic, some are tamasic. Situations have 3 gunas. In some situation, work situation or family situation, the situation can be sattvic situation, can be rajasic, can be tamasic, lot of violence, fighting. Situations also have the three gunas. And everything in nature, food, everything has three gunas. Sattvic food, rajasic food, tamasic food. So all these things will come later in 17, 18 chapters. Now here, introduction to the three gunas. In second chapter, sloka 45. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. But the next part of the sloka is very important, the key instruction. You have to become free from the three gunas. Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna 245. O Arjuna, you become free from the three gunas. Why? Because in our two parts of our personality, physical conscious part, the physical part has the three gunas. The physical body, mind, they have three gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Mind is sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. That's not us. We are that Atman which is free from three gunas. So we should identify with the Atman which is beyond the three gunas. As long as I have three gunas, I am the body mind level. The moment I dissociate myself with the three gunas, identify with the Atman, then reach my goal, human life. We become one with God. Moksha will come, liberation will come. So that is the one instruction that Sri Krishna gives. That one instruction alone is enough for us to take to the goal, to reach the goal. Istre gunya bhavarjuna nirdvandvo. Dvandva means pairs of opposites. Happiness, unhappiness. Pain, pleasure. Profit and loss. Praise and blame. All these, our life oscillates between these two extremes. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are unhappy. Sometimes we succeed in our work, success. Sometimes we fail in our work. So we oscillate like a pendulum bob, one end to other. Life is like that one, never constant, constantly changing, gyration. So we should become free from that. Nirdvando. Not affected by success, nor by failure. Not affected by praise, not by blame. In happiness, unhappiness, remaining calm. That is the instruction. Nistrayi gunyo bhavad nirdvandvo nitya sattvastho. Remaining in sattvic mode. These are three modes of our mind. Sometimes we are sattvic, calm and peaceful. Sometimes rajasic, activity, dynamism, movement, noise. Sometimes tamasic, sleep or violence. We should give up all these variations. Try to remain in the calm, peaceful mode. Sattva. Eventually, that also has to be transcended. That is also a guna. That will come here. Nirbandho nitya sattvastho niryogakshema atmavan. 245 we are still doing. Introduction to chapter 14. Niryogakshema. Yogakshema comes in 9th chapter. Yoga means acquiring things that we need, we don't have, like food and clothing, place to stay, basic needs, yoga. Things that we don't have that we need. God will provide, we have to acquire. Kshema means protecting what we have. If we don't protect what we have, though we can keep on acquiring, then they will go away. We should not lose. Take care of things in our life nicely. Whatever we have, we should take good care of it. It has come to our life for a purpose. Body, for example, has come to our life for a purpose. So we can realize God using this as a tool, body. So keep the body in good condition as much as possible. It will deteriorate and go away, but as long as it is with us, we have to take good care of it. Similarly, our property, whatever money or house or car, things we have, take good care of them nicely. Work also, whatever work comes to our lot, Do it properly, nicely, carefully, joyfully, thankfully. That's our responsibility. Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Not worried if they are not there, and not becoming attached if they are there. Then last instruction is 245. Atmavan, become established in the Atman, constantly thinking, I'm not the body mind, I'm the Atman. Or if you cannot go to that extent, you can say, I have a body mind, but God is within me, God is within everybody. I try to see God in everyone. Keep the body mind because not easy to give up it so easily. Attachment is so strong. Let it be there as a servant, as a tool to realize God. Take good care of it. So this instruction has come in the second chapter. Now, 14th chapter is an elaboration, explanation of these three gunas, which are very important. Eventually, what we have to do with this? Nistrayi gunya bhava. Remember that first instruction, 245. Become free from three gunas. To become free from three gunas, first we have to know why we have to become free. Why can't we just have the three gunas and be there? First reason, first thing to know why. Second reason is how. How to become free from three gunas. These are described in the 14th chapter. The reason why we have to become free from three gunas, we can stay as we are. We are sattvic, rajasic. Sometimes we are sattvic, sometimes rajasic, sometimes tamasic. Why not just let it be there? Then we can be there as we are. No change. But we are not happy. We want to improve. We want to become immortal. We don't want to have any problem. As long as the tamas rajas is there, problem will be there. So we have to get rid of them, the tamas rajas. If I don't want to have any suffering, any problem, I want to enjoy eternal peace, then I have to become free from the three gunas. Otherwise, I am stuck in the three gunas. Sometimes some good, sometimes bad, pain, suffering, all these things will be there. I'm not happy with that. I want to change. I want to become always happy, eternally, unconditionally happy, not sporadically happy. If you want to become happy, eternally blissful, ananda, then you have to get rid of the three gunas. That is the reason why Nistrayagunyo Bhava Arjuna, Sri Krishna said to Arjuna. Now, how to become from the three gunas, this chapter will tell us. And before that, we have to know a little bit more about the three gunas. So we'll begin chapter 14. Really, the topic begins with shloka number 5. The topic of three gunas begins with shloka number 5. Before that, a little bit of review of what we have studied before. Sri Krishna himself does a review. So first shloka. Atha Gunatraya Bhagayogo Nama Chaturdashodhyayaha. Now begins the 14th chapter, Chaturdashodhyayaha, dealing with Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, distinction between the three gunas, nature of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Pravakshyami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yajñātvā munayas sarve param siddhimito gataha. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Sri Krishna Bhagavan says, Param Jnanam Pravakshyami. Param means supreme knowledge, Jnanam. Bhuyaha means once again. That means you already said these things before. Nothing new here. All these things that have come in chapter 14 have come earlier. Like 245 contains three gunas already. But why bhuya? Why again he is saying the same thing? Because our human mind is limited. Once we hear something, it will be forgotten. Come to this year, go through this year, it won't stay. For majority of people, some people can retain. They're exceptional. If they hear once, that is it. They will remember it, they will follow it, practice it. People like Swami Vivekananda, if he heard anything once, that will be permanently recorded in his memory. He could repeat what was on what page on an Encyclopedia Britannica. We are not like him. No, we need to be told again and again. Today you tell, oh, okay, then tomorrow you have forgotten. Again, you tell the same thing like children. Every day you have to correct children, they do the same mistake. So, bhuyaha, again, Bhagavan knows we need repetition. Param pravakshyami, bhuya pravakshyami. Again, I am going to explain. Jnananam uttamam jnanam. Knowledge which is best among all knowledge. Different kinds of knowledge are there. Two kinds of knowledge. What are they? Paravidya, aparavidya. Aparavidya means ordinary knowledge of the world. All the subjects we study in schools, colleges, and universities, beginning from astrology, astronomy, botany, chemistry, all those things until mathematics, logic, anthropology, physics, technology, engineering, and then astrophysics, and until zoology, everything, all that whole branches, those branches of knowledge are called aparavidya. Apara means not supreme. Para means supreme. Why they are not supreme? They are important. Without them, without some education, we cannot live. You have to make a living. We have to have some education, some degree, something has to be studied. They are important for human life. But the importance is for some time, for this life only. If I get a good degree, a good job, and make some money, and I can be comfortable for this life, it won't help me in the next life. Supposing somebody has a bachelor's degree or master's degree in this life, and they could not go further. Next life, when he is born, he cannot go to master's degree because my last life I did BA. Now give me admission to MS. No, don't work. Go back from ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4 kindergarten preschool. So that is temporary nature. Aparavidya, only for this life. The second problem with aparavidya is, not problem, the quality is, the object of knowledge itself is changing. And our knowledge of it is also changing. If the object that we study is not constant, it is changing. And the knowledge of that object is also changing. Today we know something, tomorrow somebody comes up with a new research project, publish a new paper, they say, oh, no, this is improvement, addition to the old knowledge. Keeps on growing, changing. Medical science, they find something, then they discover there's a better way to do this one. So it is replay. Old things become obsolete. Aparavidya becomes obsolete with the time. Then we replace by newer understanding. Earlier people thought Earth was flat. That's what people believed. Then somebody no, Earth is not flat. Earth is round. See, that improvement came. The object itself was there, Earth, but our understanding changed with more research and more study, like that one. Earlier, people thought Earth is at the center, Sun is moving around the Earth. For a long time, people thought like that. But then somebody said, no, Earth is moving around the Sun. Sun is in the center of the solar system. See how our understanding changes. Aparavidya is not constant. It's helpful for this life. But with this life, it ends. Even after we retire, we forget what we study. After retirement, we are no longer engaged in teaching practice of that profession. Then very quickly, memory will fade and we don't remember what we studied in college. It has served its purpose. Unlike that aparavidya, paravidya means knowledge of the self, knowledge of God. That is permanent. God does not change. And once we acquire that knowledge, it will be permanent, not only for this life or next life also. That we have studied in the Gita earlier. Once you acquire self-knowledge, then you will not go back into realm of ignorance again. It's permanent. Once you study, reach the goal, then knowledge is always with you. You don't forget that you are this self. That's the advantage. Paravidya. It's paravidya that he's explaining here. Jnananam uttamam jnanam. Of all the branches of knowledge, the best knowledge is knowledge of the self, of our true nature. We are the knowledge of our own true nature. Our misperception the time the body-mind has to be given away, that is, ignorance has to be given away, replaced by knowledge, that true knowledge that I am the self. That's permanent, that grants eternal bliss, liberation, moksha, eternal freedom from all suffering. Why it is so important? This knowledge of the self grants liberation from all suffering of any kind permanently. Aparavidya helps us to some extent. It helps us to relieve some suffering, but that relief is temporary. New problem will come, or same problem will come again. But Paravidya, once we acquire, result is permanent. We'll never go back to the domain of ignorance. That's why that jnana is being explained here. Yajñatva, by knowing which, Munayaha, Sarve Munayaha, all the munis. Muni means one of contemplates in silence. A sage who contemplates in silence. They go to a remote area in a forest, hermitage or cave. They don't have any conversation, nobody else. They just like to remain alone and contemplate on the self. That's how they gain knowledge, by contemplation. They are called munis. Munaya means contemplative sages. Sarve Manayaha, all these sages so far have received liberation, achieved liberation. Param ito param siddhim gataha. Itaha means from this, from here. From where? From this world, which is temporary, changing, pain and pleasure combination. Itaha means from this world, empirical life, they move on, get liberated from this limitation and move on to the self. Become united with God. They will become one with the divine. Our true nature is divine. We've achieved that. Experience our true nature. That is what this knowledge does. What he is doing here in these first two verses is, he is pointing out the importance of this knowledge of the self, so that we will be motivated to know that one. Otherwise, we'll say, why should I study about the self? I'm happy with the knowledge with the body and the mind. We remain like that. But to motivate us to know the highest, of which you are capable, these words of encouragement are given, praising this knowledge. Sarve manayaha itaha param siddhim gataha. They become liberated from this world of limitation. In 8 or 9 chapters, which we studied some time ago, Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself has said a couple of times that in this world, the only world we know right now, we don't know any other world at this moment. In this world, there is no permanent happiness. Some happiness, a lot of pain, and constantly changing. Nothing is permanent. If you are happy today, it does not mean you'll be happy tomorrow or next week. Something will change. Same thing about unhappiness, that also will change. This is a temporary place. And this world is not our permanent abode. We are here as travelers. ये दुनिया है मुसाफिर खाना, ना कोई संगी साथी तेरा, ना कोई मालिक खजाना. ये दुनिया है मुसाफिर खाना. This world is a traveler's inn. Musafir means a traveler. We are staying here for a temporary this rest area. When you're traveling a long distance, you stop in the rest area and refresh yourself, have some tea, coffee, rest for some time and continue. So this is our temporary abode, or Musafir Khana, travelers inn. It's not your permanent abode. In Bengali, there is a very famous, nice song which Swamiji sang for Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi after listening to that song. Mano Cholo Nije Niketane. This famous song. Very nicely, some people sing that one. Oh, my mind, Manaha, Nijo Niketane Chalo. Go to your own abode, our own abode. Nijo Niketane. This is not our abode. It's a temporary place. You are here for a short time, for a purpose. You are here for a purpose. Part of the journey we are covering. Life is a journey. To where? To infinite, our true nature. So this is not a permanent place. So from this itaha, from this world, which is a temporary place, Gataha, they move on to the ultimate goal, which is God ourself. Liberation, salvation, however you want to describe. This knowledge enables us to reach that goal. Yajñātva manayas sarve ito siddhim param gataha. So what he's doing in the first sloka is Sri Krishna is simply extolling the virtue of self-knowledge. Why this is done? It's already come so many times. Bhuya means again. He himself says, I'm repeating again. Krishna himself repeats. Why? Because we need to be told again and again. Once if we hear or read, it will not retain. We can't assimilate, retain it much. That is why this is important now. Why it is important? Because it shows us the way to liberation. Otherwise, we can stay as we are. If you are happy with this life, then nothing to be done. Then second verse. Idam jnanamupashritya mama sadharmyamagataha sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. Same continuation of this knowledge, importance of this knowledge. Idam jnanam, this knowledge of the self, not aparavidya, but paravidya, knowledge of the self. Aparavidya has to be, we have to have. For this purpose, for this life, it is useful, limit, but we have to have it. If you are totally uneducated, don't go to school. Many people cannot go to school because they are born in some slum or in some tribal area in the forest. The whole life they have no education. There's no such thing as education for a lot of people living outside the boundaries of society. So we don't want to be like that. Education necessary, but not sufficient. In addition to aparavidya, we have to gain this knowledge of the self also. Because this leads us to permanent liberation from all suffering, salvation, mukti. Idam jnanamupashritya, having resorted to this knowledge of the self, mama sadharmyamagata, those people, munaya, contemplative sages, all sages, what is the result? What gain did they achieve by gaining this knowledge? What did the benefit they got? What's the benefit they got? Mama sadharmyam agata. Dharma means quality. One meaning of dharma. Dharma means virtue, righteousness. Mama sadharmyam. Sadharmya means same quality as mine. We become same as God. We become one with God. We become different. We are now separate from God. I am devotee. God is my master, beloved, chosen ideal. I'm a child. God is my father, mother. Like this, we are separated. It's good for the time being and it's safe. I cannot say right away I'm Brahman. That won't work for us for this Kali Yuga. Good to have that separation. But if we know the truth, then we know that he and I are one, have always been one and the same. Mystics know this one. Mystics of all religions, they know they don't have separation. They experience oneness with God. So we are feeling separation, which for the time it is good, safer to be separate. Otherwise, we'll misunderstand. My body is God like that. That won't be helpful. Mama sadharamyamagata. By knowing this knowledge, by knowing this knowledge, which was expounded before earlier chapter, which is going to come again, what is the benefit? We become one with God. We achieve liberation, salvation, mukti, moksha, all this. Those beings which have liberation, they always eternally remain one with God. No separation. Once you reach God, you don't move from there. You are with Him all the time. Dualists also believe the same way. If you go to the Vaikuntha, the domain of Vishnu, we are always staying with Vishnu rest of the time, doing his service, Kankaryam, joyfully. No suffering, no enjoyment, no old age, no birth, no disease. Same thing if you go to God in any other way. People believe in Jesus Christ, kingdom of God. We go to and join Him. Once we join Jesus Christ, then there is no suffering, there is no limitation, there is nothing. You are happy, serving the Lord. Great devotion and joy. No suffering. Permanent. So that is the benefit of this knowledge. Sarge pinopajayante, second line of second verse. Sarga means creation. This creation in our understanding is cyclic. One cycle of creation, things are created, they stay for some time, good and bad, everything happen, then they go out of existence. They are the individual level, cosmic level also. If you take one person's life, creation, birth, before that we were not there. Then growth and all these things, six changes. Then death. So this cycle goes on again and again. It's not one-time phenomenon. So these beings who achieve God, they don't go through this cycle, birth and death. They are permanently with one with the Lord. Sarge pinopajayante. You will not be again born during another cycle of creation. Pralaye navyatanti cha. Pralaya means when everything dissolves, individual life dissolves, cosmic life at global level also dissolution comes. They are not affected by it. There is no gain, there is no loss, there is no birth, there is no death. That was explained in the early second chapter. There is no birth, there is no death. Eternal union with God. No trace of unhappiness, no limitation of any kind. You become one with Him, or you stay with Him or her, whoever we think of God, eternally in a domain free from all suffering and limitations. That is the benefit of this knowledge. Sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. They are not affected by birth and death and creation and dissolution. Now, third sloka comes. This sloka, third sloka, says something that has been said before several times. Namely, everything, all beings, human beings, animals, plants, all beings are a combination of two things. Same thing comes again and again. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, all those things came earlier. One is material part, second is spiritual part. That is being explained in a different way. In a different way of explaining, Sri Krishna makes it similar to human life. How does human life come into existence? Father, mother must be there. Their union. Then the child is born. Mother provides the material support for the baby, and father provides the seed. That is our human level. That's how it is in nature. But God is not like that, like a human being. But He is explaining in that way so we can understand easily. Really, we should not take it literally. It will be a mistake to take it literally. It's not like that. But to make us understand that there is a material part which Prakriti provides and a spiritual part which Purusha provides, and we are the combination, we are the being. The result of Prakriti Purusha combination, material consciousness combination is all the beings. We are also like that. That is the gist, the purport of this sloka number 3. But it's explained in human terms. Mama yo nirmahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhava sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. Oh Arjuna, Mahad Brahma. This word is terminology is not standardized in Hindu scriptures. Different meanings are used. The words are used with different meanings, and different words are used to convey the same meaning both ways. So this word should not be taken literally. Yoni, mama yoni. Yoni means the source from everything comes. Who is the source? Mahad Brahma. Mahad Brahma here means Prakriti. Very important deviation from the normal meaning. It is easy to get confused. Prakriti or Maya. Prakriti is the material part of the universe, matter. That is the source. Everything. We need matter for things to come into existence. But matter is not enough. We need consciousness to make it active. That is the second part. That is the what the Father provides in the case of human beings. Here, Mahayoni, the source is Mahat Brahma. Prakriti is the source of everything, material part of everything. Tasmin, in that material part, Prakriti, Aham Garbham Dadami. I give you the seed. That means consciousness. God provides consciousness. Prakriti is already there. Combination beings result. That's all we have to understand. Sambhavas sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. Tata, from this combination of Prakriti Purusha, material consciousness, sarvabhutanam sambhavaha bhavanti. Bhavati. All the beings come into existence. You take any animal, like an elephant or a dog, two parts are there. The body of the dog and the consciousness is very conscious. Dog is very conscious. Same as human beings. It has feelings, expression. It expresses joy and sorrow. It has hunger, thirst, all these things. What we do, dogs also do. So everything is combination of two things, matter, spirit. That's all we have to know. All the beings, Sarvabhutanam Sambhavaha, the birth of all the beings, Bhavati, happens because of the union of matter and spirit. That's all we have to know in verse number 3. If you go literally, it becomes confusing. Just take the purport of this sloka. Then for sloka number 4, also same. Sloka number 5, where really the topic of the chapter begins with sloka number 5. Let us finish number 4. Sarvayonishu kaunteya मूर्तयः सम्भवन्ति याः तासां ब्रह्ममहद्योनिः अहं बीजप्रदः पिता. Sarvayonishu, in whatever species or source, Murtaya Sambhavanti, different beings or different sources. Animal source, animals being born as animal, elephant, they're also birds and aquatic animals, all have different bodies, species, classifications. Whatever, and people, so many different variation in people. From person to person, you can see the change. I think if you take human beings as a class of beings, there's so much variation from one person to another person. But if you take sheep, for example, all the sheep appear same. If there are 25 sheep going, you can't tell what one sheep does, other sheep does the same way. We don't notice that much difference from one sheep to another sheep. But if you take two people, so much difference, so much variation in human life. Some people you see, sometimes you see clips in the internet, how people live in the tribes deep in the forest. They don't have clothes like this one, and they live in the forest. They build some hut using branches and trees, and they hunt and then eat, and then nothing much, no school, no education, no money, no currency, nothing. That's how they live. Whole life goes like that one. Children also do the same thing. If it's somebody like us here in a city, so different from the tribal person. We went to school, our parents sent us to school, taught us ABCD, taught us how to eat, how to dress, how to take bath. Our parents taught all these things to us. And then we studied something, whatever subject we studied, then we got a job. So most people got married, they have got children, and then they build houses and they go to outer space, and a lot of things people do. But those tribal people, same. From generation to generation, not much. See, among human beings, so much variation is there. In all of them, same divinity resides. That's the beauty. So, sarvayonishu kaunteya, ya murtaya sambhavanti. Whatever forms beings spring up in all kinds of species, animals, plants, human beings. Tasam Brahma Mahat Yonehi. Their source, material source is the same, Prakriti. Mahat Brahma means Prakriti here. Aham Bija Prada. The consciousness in all of the beings is the same one divinity. See how much variation is there? Even among human beings. But in spite of so much variation, infinite variation in variety in nature, the conscious part is one and the same. Bodies are different. Animal bodies are different, even among animals. Dog's body is different, cat's body is different, tiger's body is different, snake's body is different. So much difference in the bodies. But in all of those, and human beings and plants, only one divinity. So that is the beauty of creation. So what is the purpose of this knowledge? We should pay more attention not to the bodies and minds, but to the divine presence in all. This knowledge, implication of this knowledge is practicing the presence of God in all and everything, including inanimate objects. You should treat them also gently, nicely, though they are not able to speak and communicate, but God is in them nonetheless. That we studied in 13th chapter. This repetition of what we told before, what he taught before. 13th chapter we studied, God is present in the same way in all beings. Verse number 27, 13:27. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. In all the beings, the Parameshwara, Supreme Lord, is present in the same way. In human beings, animals, wicked people, saintly people, plants, everything is present. Sarveshu bhuteshu samam tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu. And the containers, bodies are all vinashing. They will come and go, temporary. They stay for some time only. Some beings live for a long time. Some beings live for a short time. Birds and small insects, they live for a very short time. People live for 70, 80, 90 years. Some animals live longer also. But still, the bodies are different in every way. Still, the indwelling spirit is same, only one and same in all of them. That's the important point. Whomever we see, whatever we see, we are seeing the divine presence, same divinity in all, including us. That is the main lesson of Vedanta. And that has come in so many different ways. So far, it has come here. So, Bhagavan is repeating this information which I told before because of its importance. Something important we have to hear again and again. Now begins verse number 5. We will read that one. The real topic of three gunas comes here in verse number 5. Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhava dibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehina mavyayam. Here three gunas will come. Topic. Sattvam, rajaha, tamaha. Sattva quality, raja quality, rajas and tamas quality. Iti gunaha, these three gunas, there is no exact translation for the word guna in English. You can translate it as quality, but it's not more than quality. The component. Gunaha, sattva guna, raja guna, tamas guna, tamo guna. Prakriti sambhavaha, where do they occur? In Prakriti, not in Purusha. You remember we have two parts in us. God within us, body and mind. In body, mind, the three gunas are there. Our bodies are sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Our minds are sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Our thoughts are sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. But the God in us, the divine presence in is no sattva or tamas, beyond the three gunas. No gunas can touch the divine Lord. He is free above all these things. These gunas are limitations, but he is free from all limitation. The divine presence within us, no sattva, no rajas, no tamas. Where do this sattva, rajas, tamas come? In the body, mind, and everything outside. Everything, all objects in nature have sattva, rajas, and tamas. Food also. Some food is sattvic. You eat it, you feel peaceful, nice. Some food is rajasic, gives you a lot of energy. Some food is tamasic, creates problem. People are like that one. Situations are like that one. Family situation, some families are sattvic environment. Everybody is working well together, mutual love, respect. Rajasic family, lot of activity, moving about, everybody doing something. Tamasic family, don't have to describe. Fighting, violence. So the three gunas are there. What we have to do with this? This is the important point of this chapter. We have to become free from the three gunas. That's liberation. That he gave the second chapter. See, this same theme comes in the Gita. Second chapter, sloka 45. He said, Nistraigunyo bhava. Become free from three gunas. Now, the three gunas, what are they? How to become free from them? And why? Chapter 14. So we'll study this very interesting topic of three gunas. We'll continue next time. Let me stop here and say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble, auspicious, and dharmic. And may no one be subject to misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all and stay well. God willing, see you next week.